with full qualifying, points on the board for Q3 as well for the top 8 drivers. Who are you looking forward to seeing here?
Sorry, just organizing the lobby right now.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, the question was what I'm looking forward to see, and I can't name one driver. There's so many talented drivers in this field. I think, honestly, like, there's probably at least 5 or 6 drivers in this lobby who could get pole position based on their pace. So I think it's going to come down to who is perfectly prepared, who is feeling it today, who is on their best form. So it's going to be a very close qualifying all the way through, both from Q1, Q2 and Q3, and of course, and also hopefully the race. Could be especially spicy as well if we see some rain. Of course, being in England, there is a high chance of some rain coming down, either during qualifying, the race, or even both.
Indeed, yes. And obviously with the length of this qualifying session as well, you don't just have those 18 minutes, we have a total of 45 minutes of track time here, and there's definitely a good chance of rain, as we have already seen in round 1. Obviously we've had consistent rain throughout the entire qualifying session in Imola, and obviously the last race has also been partly rain affected in Mexico, and with Silverstone being this venue, being in Great Britain, there is always a good chance for some rain to come down and spice things up. So really interesting prospect here today, and looking forward to 26 laps full of action, hopefully. Usually Silverstone can be a DRS train at times, obviously 2 DRS zones down the Hanger Straight and the Wellington Straight, but some very good overtaking areas as well, as we have seen in real life as well. We've had enough races where we've seen brilliant action all across the grid in Silverstone, and now who are we waiting for? I believe GSP is currently only on 1 driver.
Yeah, there's a slight issue right now with the GSP driver lineup. They have submitted a driver who's previously raced for a different team, and the other driver hasn't turned up yet. So yeah, hopefully we'll be getting going in a minute. But apart from that, we're all ready to go. So yeah, shouldn't take too long now.
All right, that is obviously very good to hear. I will look quickly. Quali full? Yes. Is there a stream? Yes. Actually true, I can quickly link the stream. Copy link. Is there a stream? Yes, there is. Alright. Yep, got that. I'm gonna put it into the other chats as well.
Right, I've got the stream open as well now, so I can see the chat if anybody is saying anything. I'll ask the drivers for a weather report once we're in qualifying as well, see if somebody can let us know.
Okay, Harley sent it too. Alright, there we go, so that's sorted. Yep, I've got the chat up as well in case. Should work, I hope anyways. Recently it has, thankfully, so it will be good on that one today. Definitely, yeah, some very big talent all across the grid, and I suppose it's going to be a home race for quite a few people, so they'll be looking to deliver for themselves. One team maybe a little bit under pressure is IRT, the only team to not have scored any points in this season so far. You've got Sieb and Julian driving for them today. Been getting a bit unlucky, but they certainly didn't have that great pace that other teams definitely have had over the course of this season. So they'll be hoping to get their season up and running finally in this 4th round. CPI also been a pretty low scorer with 5 points, and generally the bottom 4, ERT and VR, both on 13 points, will be looking to get their season properly going, because then there's already a 36-point gap to 6th place team GSP, who we seemingly have issues with at the moment, but yeah, you've explained that before, so yes, definitely that 34-point gap, in fact, from Relentless at the top. Some teams will be looking to eat into that, but they've still got a very strong lineup today of Peace and Mark in that Mercedes, so definitely an interesting prospect for today, as Ryan is very confident of a QRT victory in chat. Welcome, mate. Great to have you here. See if anybody else wants to jump on that bandwagon and drop some predictions in the chat.
Worth mentioning as well, we are obviously both members of the NLR team, so I guess we're both hoping for an NLR pole and race win. But yeah, we'll try to keep our biases aside.
Yeah, of course we are not that kind of guy, I would say. So of course we'll be looking forward. We'll be subconsciously cheering on the team, but now the Aston Martin's empty, so I suppose that's that. Yeah.
Yeah, I removed GSP because
Okay.
he is previously raced for a different team, so he's not allowed actually to race for GSP. So I think we might end up without drivers for GSP, which that's very unfortunate for them. I don't know what happened to what's going on with the other driver, with GSP Thoralf.
I haven't seen anything on him either. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't heard from him.
Yeah, the reserve Torby, I suppose he wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't be ready in this case. He wouldn't have known maybe that this is going on currently at GSP, which is obviously very unlucky to them. We can't. Yeah. Can only apologize here. This is just very unfortunate circumstances for the team. But I'm sure they will be back stronger once the season gets obviously back underway. We've got a double header in Real F1 next week, meaning no starting next week, so no races for those 2 weeks. But from then on, we will be back with the action, and everybody is now readying up. So qualifying is about to get underway for round 4.
I mean, yeah, after this race we'll have we've got a break. On the 27th of November we'll be back, and then we've got 3 races in a row. But after that we'll be having a longer break as well again because of the World Cup and Christmas. So yeah, but we are looking forward to well, we're almost halfway through the season already. It's gotten quite quick, I would say. Of course, only a 10-round season, so it's a pretty short season still.
Oh, Baby
we go.
His first QRT event. Okay, so he'll be looking to pick up a good performance here, show himself for the QRT guys. Looking forward to seeing him on the track in that Alpine car. But indeed, Q1 shortly getting underway, and those lap times will be definitely subject to dropping a lot. Some drivers won't be pushing too hard in this Q1 session, and it is pretty overcast, but it looks dry for the moment.
Yes, I was about to say, it is looking dry for now, but of course I see some clouds. We could see some rain. I've asked the drivers for weather report. Maybe someone will give us the information, let us know what their heads-up display or their monitor on the game is saying.
And we might also see from the lap times in this Q1 session, because obviously if it were to rain in the race, then we might see a relatively significant drop in those lap times. We've seen drivers drop into the 126s definitely in short qualifying. Whether that will change for full qualifying, we are about to find out, but that is usually a good basis to build from. And quickly, I'm just going to enable the telemetry that I need. Track map is going to be on. Lap data enabled. Detail. Tire is unnecessary. VLR right now is on the intermediates. I don't think that is a sign. Detail best. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it on this. Fastest lap. Yep. Okay. Got that one sorted out. Nobody currently going out yet, and Bogorovsky in chat saying there is rain in the race. So as we have predicted, these drivers are maybe looking to make some setup changes. And how much would people have practiced for the rain, do you reckon? Because obviously it is not unlikely that there is rain in a Silverstone race, but still, drivers don't usually practice for the rain.
Interesting. I'm getting conflicting reports because I've also been told by one of the drivers that it will be dry. So specifically by Darrell Smith, the Alpine driver in P11 right now. So he's saying dry in my DMs. But then the screenshot is saying rain. So I guess we'll see. Somebody is either lying or they have different weather reports. Of course, could be a game glitch as well. We know how the game works.
Yeah, that's true indeed. Yeah. Kieran is the first one to go out. He is on the soft tires. However, behind that, the Red Bull of Lars, I think, has indeed gone out on intermediates. So I'm not sure if he's actually done that for seeking lap time, because obviously right now it's not raining. But we'll have a look at that.
I mean, I think it's just going to be a shakedown run, making sure that their wheel is also correctly, that they've got the correct settings on and everything. Something you see a lot of drivers do in full qualifying. They use the first one in Q1, just put on some inters and yeah, basically just make sure everything is working correctly as intended. I don't think, even if rain were to come down now, surely the softs would still be faster for a couple laps at least.
Yeah, that should indeed be the case. Right now, the crossover does always take quite a while to come in, and even then, dry tires, they can be a lot quicker still. Now Kieran is the first man, obviously still hasn't been passed by that Red Bull of Lars, warming up his tires, and we're going to go on board with this lap, just see how he manages his first banker lap. So coming through Club Corner, it's important here to not spin up the rears. It can happen sometimes. Down the Hamilton straight now, it's flat out into Abbey, turn 1. Takes that relatively cautiously, but that's fine. Now through turn 2, Farm, and on this curve he's braking for turn 3, Village. Getting a bit wide here, trying to set himself up for the loop, and a good exit here onto Aintree and the Wellington straight. A bit of oversteer there, but the first DRS straight now on this Silverstone circuit. It's going to be a decent opportunity to get closer to other cars into Brooklands now. A very long left-hander followed by an even longer right-hander here off Luffield. Going to be very important, actually. He loses the rear end there a little bit. But now through Woodcote onto the old turn 1, Cops Corner. Very awkward corner for some drivers because obviously it is not quite flat out. And yeah, he lifts quite considerably there. Looks to relatively clean lap definitely so far. Maggots, Beckett's Chapel, the very fun S section through Silverstone circuit here. Yo, bit of an unstable rear end, isn't it? Now through Chapel, DRS enabled for him. 103.8 through the middle sector. There's definitely some lap time in there, but he's just looking to get a time on the board. As now Stowe corner, 5th gear for him. Up to 6th in the middle of the corner. Does not invalidate here on the exit. That's one of the areas for track limits. And now as that curve more or less starts, that's the braking zone for the Vale chicane. 5th gear on the exit to short shift out of Club Corner, and 1:27.6 is the first lap time on the board here. VR Lars is actually completing his lap on the intermediates, though he is invalid. 1:32.1. So we're gonna have to have a look at some of the other drivers here. Baby Dukias is the next one,
I believe. Is the next
it
one
Noxie? Ah yeah, there he is. 27.4 in the first sector. That's a pretty solid time from him. 1:03.3 though is about half a second up right now on Kieran for that ERT team.
Kieran had the big mistake of Luffield, which could explain.
Yeah, that could indeed be. He's had a big slide there on exit. So there's an Alpine getting out of the way very nicely. Val chicane. Now looking to get that traction down. He doesn't short shift, in fact. It is viable to not short shift out of here, and he goes fastest by about 3.5 tenths. Baby Dukias 56.2 has definitely not set a representative lap, but he is about to go on 1 and has it validated, in fact. So that is that lap for him as well. Julian is the next on the medium tires, making use of the new tire allocation. Thank God for that, by the way. As here he comes around that final corner, is not looking to waste more tires. 29.0 though, that is obviously not very quick. Mr. H currently on an out lap, and the next would be now Dark Smith into the pit lane.
Mr. Rage is on a lap. He's the only one on a competitive lap at the moment. Everybody else is either on inters or on a slow lap.
Yep, indeed. I've just seen Jirofu as well. He's on the intermediates for NLR. So he's not exactly setting a representative lap now. He's just trying to save tires, I suppose, because of that new tire allocation option. It's going to be less soft tires available, of course, in this qualifying session.
I think he's left to give credit to Jirofu's lap time, Domin. Look at that, 31.7 on inters. He's only about 2.7 seconds off the next car. So, considering that he's on a completely wrong tire for these conditions, I would say that's a pretty good lap time.
It's indeed pretty solid, yeah. 31.7.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's worth nothing because it will definitely still be last, but or at least last after people with any amount of decent lap times. But a lot closer than I would expect mediums or inters, sorry, to be to the mediums.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what the game allows these drivers to do, because you wouldn't see that in real life, would you? It's completely different on this game, obviously, than it is to real life. Mr. H, at this moment, heading through the middle sector. 103.9 is down on Kieran's lap at the moment, though he is just looking to get a banker down. Whether he needs another lap, we will see. But through Stowe corner, he's looking pretty solid, maybe a bit wide on that apex, but absolutely fine. No concerns there on that run. And the Vale chicane maybe understeered a bit out of that one, but it seems fine for this banker lap, and he goes third, 28.0. Solid banker for the moment, but nothing yet to write home about.
Next one to look at could be Ayub, currently P16, no lap time, he's on a medium. Just going through sector 1 here.
Indeed, here he comes. Let's see. First sector time, 27.7. Of course, he is lacking some time, but that is because of the lower grip that the medium tires do have. A bit wide on the apex of Brooklands. Now exiting Luffield definitely looks stronger than what we had seen on that very first onboard lap. Now heading for this short line, down to the old turn 1. Cop's corner, very wide, but he's done that very nicely, in fact, on the track limits. So through this S section, a very good corner here to keep up the momentum. A bit wide on that middle part. Chapel looks fine, but oof, loses that rear end and spins it around. That limited grip is always able to catch out drivers in any session, whether it be qualifying or the race. Now he's waiting for the Haas of Mr. H to come past, but I suppose he will be on an in-lap. Yes, he is. Believe in Red Bull is next up. Just seeing that.
Interesting to note that Ayub was actually running 5th gear through Chapel there, whilst most others were running 6th. So that could have potentially, well, not maybe caused that spin, but definitely be an explanation as to what happened to him. Just going a gear lower, of course, then higher RPM, more torque, and the car just kind of went out from under him. Very easy mistake to make, and I've seen it plenty of times.
Yeah, and certainly at that corner, it's not a mistake you see often in other corners here at Silverstone. Maybe Luffield, as we had seen from Kieran, is a very difficult traction zone, of course. It's always hovering between that 4th and 5th gear. Whether depends on what the drivers choose for that one. Black Mamba right now is on an invalid lap. And because I've got a yellow flag, I don't actually know currently how much time is left in this session, but we're definitely well into this session. And a lot of drivers still. 9 minutes still, okay, so still without laps. We've got everyone all the way down from P9 onwards, and Jirofu in P6, remember, P7 now, as Shabby goes second. Jirofu is on the intermediate, so only 6 drivers really with representative laps at the moment.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we're halfway through Q1 and not even half the grid has hit a lap time yet. It's, oh well, a lap time, yes, but not a competitive lap time. So very interesting to see drivers, well, either waiting for so long or having made so many mistakes on their laps that they had to abandon them.
Yep, indeed. This is a very strange sight to me. I've never seen that too much before. Sieb is the next one to cross the line now in that AlphaTauri for IRT. And it's a pretty solid lap. Left it pretty late, 127.7. Puts himself around, or more or less half a second off that P1 time of Noxie. I'm sure Noxie might be a little bit surprised that he's still first, still heading this session after so long, but then again, when you see only 10 drivers have set lap times, it's a very interesting prospect here.
About to go 11th, last over the line, 28.0.
Puts himself well into that top 10. However, we'll see a lot of improvement from other drivers, including Relentless Mark, who currently is on the medium tires. He'll be looking to get through, but a 104.5 in the middle sector does not look very strong. Derek Smith actually is crossing the line now, 16th at the moment, bumps himself up to 2nd, and just 1.5 off Noxie's lap time. And then it would be Relentless Mark, indeed, coming through the Vale chicane at the moment. Again, oof, slight traction worries there, but looks fine at the moment. Only P9 though. There's definitely going to be more lap. Azer goes up to P4 in the CPI McLaren car. And next up, I believe, Kart Racer is starting a hot lap now, only now. Currently in last, but oof.
Slightly blocked maybe by the McLaren there.
Yep, didn't get out of the way too well. He wouldn't have seen that Alfa Romeo coming from behind him. But keeping on board a little bit, of course, some screen time. We need to give NLR some screen time on our own event, so I'm going to keep on board a little bit here, see how his lap time is going to be. 27.5 in that first sector. It's one of the stronger first sectors we've seen in the session so far. I believe next up we have a Williams coming down the Hanger Straight. I'm not sure if he is on a quick lap right now. If you could check that, that would be Kieran, I think.
Kieran is not in the quick lap.
Okay.
The other Williams Jinx is in the pits.
Yep, indeed. So it looks like a very safe run actually from Kart Racer, not taking any risk here on track limits, just looking to get himself through Q1. Obviously a driver who's been on pole in PSGL as well here. I would know because I was his teammate, I had to point that one out. 103.4 throughout middle sector. It's a pretty decent lap time still. Hopefully not coming up to some traffic right now. The Alpine gets out of the way. Mercedes, I believe, heading into the pit lane. Yes, indeed, I think. So here comes Kart Racer through the Vale chicane, on board with him. Let's see how he manages that one. Stays in 4th gear as well, actually. So no short shifting going on from him, and he goes that fastest with a 27.338, very close at the top there. But still some improvements to come. Only 2 drivers now for that lap times. BN Artem for SBS is one of the next drivers to cross the line. Girofo, I believe, is coming as well. Indeed, goes up to P5, 27.5. Artem now for SBS is going up to P10, so probably some lap time left in there for him. Julian, I think, is coming up now through the Vale chicane, and Club Corner 14th fastest only. So obviously only the bottom 3 dropping out. It's not a bottom 5 like we would have liked to, but obviously issues for GSP didn't make that too possible. But Relentless looking very weak right now, 15th and 18th only.
I mean, both on, well, Mark on mediums and Pete no lap time, so well, they are under pressure. They have to get a good lap time in, but I would say they can definitely improve significantly once they put on softs, or well, put on any lap time at all.
Yeah, indeed, that should be relatively easy for them. I mean, I've seen both Peace and Mark perform much better than what they are right now. Of course, Peace without a lap time. He'll be getting out there relatively soon, I'd imagine. Maybe avoiding the traffic, but he could, well, just leave it as late as he can. To get the best possible track, but is that a risk someone would want to take in Q1? I'm not so sure about that one.
I don't
yellow
think
flag.
he needs to.
Yeah, probably doesn't need to indeed, yeah.
Maybe go out a bit early, have enough fuel to just to make sure you can do 2 laps in a row if you need to, just in case you make a mistake or you invalidate Noxy now retiring in the pits. Yeah, I would say you can get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that 27.2 came in very early, and nobody's been able to beat it all this
Derek
time.
out as well, so same around there. Have a look at the chat quickly. I mean, enough people are saying that rain is actually coming in the race, so maybe that is true after all. But a 27.2 as a Q1 lap time suggests that some people will be opting for more of a dry setup. Maybe that could explain why some drivers are in there with relatively slow lap times right now, because they are prepared for that rain.
Interesting thought, yeah, of course. Some drivers might be going for wet setup if there is rain in the race. Of course, you also would then sacrifice the points that you get for qualifying. There is, of course, a different point system in the NLR Esports League where we give some points for qualifying. 10 points per position, down to 1 point for P8. So maybe I don't think it's worth it to sacrifice those qualifying points.
Indeed, that is the big problem here. Is Ayub up to P1, 27.2 for VER, so that should see him relatively safely through into Q2. As IRTC has actually retired, he's down in 9th, so he thinks that his lap time will be enough, but he might well be on the cusp, I'd say. I believe Shabby now out as well for DTR. We've got Kieran, I think it's the next driver on a fast lap, unless I've missed Jinx. So yeah, Jinx is actually the next one. The first one,
Jinx is coming up to Relentless Mark up ahead, so hopefully the Mercedes will either get out of his way or go fast enough ahead of him to not block the Williams.
Actually looks like a pretty good lap time for Jinx, as he's been around 3/10 up throughout middle sector split. If he can gain even more in the final sector, he might well be looking at a top time here, as we are getting this awkward front wing view. Just, jump on his onboard here through the Vale chicane, through the exit. No real impeding there from the Mercedes, so no problem at all. As Jinx up to P5. Might have lost a bit of time in that last sector, but that should still seem through realistically. Next up we have VR Lars, though he's starting lap I think, so ERT Kieran, Jinx's teammate, is next up, and he goes up to P1, first one with the 27.1, and that should see him through into Q2 very safely indeed. VR Lars is in the first sector right now, so I believe it's... Yeah, now it's obviously going to be very interesting and very difficult to keep an eye on the drivers, on the order of the drivers crossing the line. Relentless P.
Yeah, I'll be watching Relentless Mark right now, P16. He's 5/10 off the clear, or the safe zone, so he needs to find a lot of time here. So I think it's best to look at those bottom 3 right now, as they are the ones under pressure here.
Yes, indeed. Cops Corner looking pretty safe, but definitely not taking no risk at all. So let's have a look quickly here through Maggots, Beckett, and now through Chapel. You can see it's a controller driver, so these S's might not be the best part of the track there for him, but 8/10 up on his lap right now. right now would easily be enough to get himself maybe into the top 10 with a strong enough final sector, and considering he was on the mediums, realistically you should be expecting him to jump up quite a way, and I would say maybe even into the top 5, you don't know. So through the Vale chicane, getting some good traction out of here, very important to not ruin your lap time, but relentless mark, P9, 27.5. Let's see if that will be enough. I would say it could definitely be enough, but it's still going to be very close. As VR last, 27.5 as well. You can see from P6 down to P10, it's a 27.5 for all of those drivers.
Yeah, now Julian, Baby Dokias and Peace under pressure here. He's got more people retiring in the pits. Peace actually, I think, getting a slipstream from his teammate here.
Ooh.
Which has been a point of, well...
Yep.
That's something we've had in the past. Somebody got penalized for it last week. Well, I don't remember which team it was, but it is not allowed within the rules. So if somebody picks up on that and decides to report a relentless, could be in trouble.
And I mean, obviously we've said it on stream now, so if anyone sees this, there you go. You've just provided you with some ground. As Julian, through that middle sector split, Mr. H up to P6, that should see him through into Q2, and only a minor improvement actually for Julian, so he's definitely very much under pressure.
Baby Doc is about to go over the line as well. Could be crucial to see if he improves.
I will look quickly. Doesn't look like a strong lap though. Stays 17th, so that is
gained half a second, but still.
Julian is only up by 3/100ths through the middle sector split, so he'd have to have a magic final sector to get into Q2, and only 15th, so he's still very much on the cusp here. And Relentless Peace is obviously coming as well, but a 1:03.9 doesn't look like a super strong middle sector for the Mercedes man. And crossing the line now, 13th fastest is through.
He's done enough.
He
Black
is
Mamba
through.
is the last one on the way, so it's between Black Mamba and Artem now.
Indeed it is, now in the middle sector split, 1:03.6, that is a pretty good middle sector. It shows up as purple, whether that's true, we don't know. But even still, heading into Stoke Corner now, breaking around that curb, heading that apex as best as he can, does not invalidate his lap crucially, and now into the Bale chicane. Who will it be? Is it going to be Artem for SBS, or will Black Mamba get himself into Q2 for the DTR team? Have both cars in Q2 then. Crosses the line, 14th, and that sees him through into Q2. And already, we have some names knocked out that, for example, the IRT team with Julian, they would like to pick some momentum up, and they haven't managed to do so. Only Sieb, as 15th, who's retired pretty early on, he just about got that, so it's a good tactical shot from him to retire, but 15th, very much on the cusp. So out of the session, we've got Baby Dukius for the QRT team, we have Julian for the IRT team, and Artem for SBS, who are out. And look at the field spread. I mean, we've only got about half a second between the top 15, only a second between the entire grid, and this is only going to get closer the less drivers we're going to have.
Yeah, crazy close field spread. I mean, Sieb, you have to say, was it luck? Was it calculated? Did he realize he would maybe just about go through? Definitely a close call to retire that early, but it worked out for him, so I guess, well, he saved a set of tires.
Yeah,
which
that would be
crucial, of course, especially as we now have even less softs, but one more medium. That could be a factor later on in the qualifying. Maybe having 2 runs in Q3 instead of just one on a fresh set of tires.
I would just like to point out that all the way from P6 to P11, we've had drivers setting at 27.5, only 4/100ths of a second separating these drivers. So extremely, extremely close. And with the weather seemingly hitting in that race, it's certainly going to be a really interesting British Grand Prix here. And round 4, I'm sure, will serve us up with a treat. Let's have a look at the weather conditions in Q2, whether that will stay put. As I'm still loading in, it's still very overcast, but it looks like it will be dry for this Q2 session, with now 15 drivers remaining and getting onto that chase for the Q3 and those points up for grabs there. We've got lap
immediately the first cars leaving the pits as well. I can see both Ayub and Lars, both VR cars, one of them Williams as well, out of the pits already. So yeah, immediately, the moment qualifying starts, the people are ready to go and wanting to set the lap times.
Indeed, and it looks like if they are heading out immediately, obviously in Q1 we've had a lot of drivers wait a little bit, possibly to change their setup slightly to suit the rain in the race a little bit better, but now we've got drivers going out immediately, which should be an indication that qualifying should stay dry, realistically, as Black Mamba has left the session. Is there any kind of invites that he could still...
I can invite him back in.
Okay, yeah.
During qualifying I can't. Once the race starts, you actually can't invite people anymore, which, well,
okay.
So I hope people don't disconnect during the actual race.
Yeah, it was obviously really hurt the chances of these teams. Yellow flag in the first sector. We've got a McLaren, in fact, spinning around on his outlap. That is not what you want to see if you are a CPI manager. As he spins around again there on traction. Needs to keep his foot a little bit more calm here, as actually I'm going to stay on board a little bit. It is a controller drive actually, so it's that right trigger that you'll have to control a little bit better. I'm sure he'll be getting the hang of that again through the qualifying session. Again, we've got Kieran, the first driver to start a lap time, now heading onto that hangar straight towards Stowe Corner. Behind that, SBS Mr. Rage for in that Haas car. ERT Jinx behind that. Then we've got the two Red Bulls in the order. Ayub and Lars, then an Alfa Romeo, so that would be NLR's Jirofu who would be next up. But for now, it is going to be ERT Kieran. Let's see, where is he? Yes, there he is. Now starting his first lap time. Let's see how representative will that one be. Yellow flag in that last sector. That's going to be some people just waiting to have that gap in order to start their laps, to not get impeded by any driver or not get any dirty air. As a yellow flag there, that is a spin, in fact, from VR Lars out of the last corner. That is very much not ideal for him. He's now going to have to do a full lap, probably back to the pit lane, maybe head out on the same tyre as well, to save some soft tyres for Q3 if he wants to get there. ERT Kieran now heading through Laffield, obviously only got through with one lap. No, actually, no, he did 2 laps, yeah. He did 2 laps in that Q1 session, but no mistakes there this time on the traction from the Brit in that Williams car. Cops Corner, looking pretty committed. And now through the S's, a very fun section, obviously, whenever you go to Silverstone, whether it be in the dry, in the wet. And 6th gear, oof, it's a little bit of wheel spin there, slight oversteer moment on the exit, but a 103.6 in the middle sector. He's really... trying to get a good banker lap time in here to maybe even get through on this one set of soft tyres. It would be very good for him if he wants to get into Q3 and secure some good points for the ERT team, who have been struggling this season so far. Only 13 points picked up for them over the first 3 rounds. But exiting that last chicane, 127.5 as the first lap time in this session. Mr. Rage will be next to cross the line. Who goes second? 28.2. Could that be a used set of tyres maybe? As ERT Jinx seemingly hasn't validated. Yes, he has. Ayub into third with a 28.4. Next up, we have NLR Jirofu, who's heading through the Vale chicane and into Club Corner. Now a bit of oversteer there on the exit, but sets a 127.7. Goes second at the moment. Got a Mercedes now crossing the line. That would be, yeah, it's a pretty slow lap time. VR Lars has actually set a lap time on that set, but only a 29.3. He'll have to improve on that. CPI Noxy is next across the line, goes third, 27.9. Card Racer will now be starting a lap. So next up is CPI Eise in that other McLaren car. We've just seen Noxy cross the line, as actually Render's Mark goes fastest, 2.5 tenths clear of ERT Kieran, and 27.6 there for Eise, and goes up to P3. Next up, I believe, an Alpine. But that is Derek Smith on an outlap. Therefore, nobody, I think, on a fast lap at the moment.
Yeah, Carter just went off, so he's also not on a fast lap anymore.
Ah, okay.
Seems like he locked up into turn 3. I think he went into the grass on the entry.
Ah, very common mistake to make in that corner, yeah.
Relentless Peace is pushing at the moment, I think.
Yep, we'll have a look here. 27.6 in that first sector. It's looking relatively solid from him. And wow, that is a lot of curb he's taken through there. Is now exiting this. Ooh, maybe a bit too much grass from him. 104.0. It's not the strongest sector time from him. So I wouldn't say Relentless maybe have the strongest lineup they could have possibly chosen for the Silverstone Grand Prix. And he has backed off. Okay, so
turned off fuel. Yep.
Yep. That is obviously unlucky for him. And VR Lars behind him also run out of fuel. Now heads back into the pit lane. So Kart Racer 1:10.5 is obviously not a representative sector time. Relentless Mark I think is on an in-lap at the moment. Two McLarens will be on an in-lap too, so only one on a fast lap right now. Dark Smith for the QRT team in that Alpine. Definitely taken some very nice lines and obviously picked up that. Let me quickly see the results. P5 last week. Nope, never mind, that was in qualifying. A P2, in fact, for QRT. And now he's looking to build on that form. 103.8. Again, not the strongest middle sector, but maybe that might be setup related with the weather hitting in the race. So, Stowe corner looking pretty strong. As he is invalidated. Ah, yeah, that is obviously not good for him, and he'll have to get the banker in later in the session. Maybe even go out for that last run, but how much pressure is he willing to take here? DTR Shabby next across the line. Vale chicane now clips that curb very nicely. Second one as well, and through that last corner, it looks pretty solid from him, and he does go fastest by about 3/100ths of a second, actually 4/100ths. He is up into top spot with a 27.2, similar lap time as to what we've seen in Q1.
Yeah, interesting note, we're only now seeing people matching those top times in Q1. If anything, we would expect people to go faster in Q2, so I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Yeah, in general, I mean, the lap times all over the field seem to be a bit slower than they were in Q1. Could be some setup changes happening. We could have the Park for May glitch, where Park for May isn't activated and people are now changing the setups, but I guess in that case they would wait for after qualifying, wouldn't they?
Yeah, usually they should, and it would be a very early and a very, very strange point of time to do that, as Black Mamba is now the next to start a lap, heading through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight. Yeah, those setup changes, if the Park Ferme glitch is still a thing, which I believe it's not, but yeah, it's the F1 22 game. It always comes with a full lot of surprises, and yeah, they're not usually very positive. So let's hope these stay out of that we stay out of trouble here in this lobby today. It seems decent so far, and therefore we are just hoping that it will continue this way. Black Mamba now through Cop's corner into these S's. No lap time set for him yet. Same goes for IRTC, who would be the next, I believe, to cross the line on a quick lap. So the middle sector for Black Mamba, let's see how that looks, at 103.6. So indeed it is, could it be down to setup changes here? I'm not really sure about this, because the lap times really aren't to the level that you maybe would expect, like you said.
It could be track changes. Maybe the track temperature has gone down a bit, there's less traction available for the drivers. I'm not sure what the cause of this is.
Now crossing the line, Black Mamba, then we have a fourth fastest lap time, another 27.5, and as I touched upon earlier, we've got Seeb next, but he's invalidated, so he's very much under pressure, the IRT man. Therefore, next up, Relentless Peace. I'm not sure exactly on a fast lap, because it doesn't show out lap, but it also displays a 2-minute 45 lap time, so let's see.
I think Lars might be the next one over the line. He is currently in Sector 1, 27.5. Up by 1.5 seconds already.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, he said he must have had a big mistake then in that first sector. Or actually, no, it was compromised with that spin out of the last corner.
Yeah, he was the one who spun before his lap start. And he still finished the lap, interestingly, which I'm not sure why he even bothered, to be honest.
Well, yeah, you could argue that it's maybe a little bit useless, but at least he has some kind of delta down for himself to aim for. It's always a better feeling when you have something to go up against. I believe after that we have a NLR driver. That would be Jirofu on a fast lap. Yep, heading through the S's right now. But now BR Lars obviously looking to improve. 1.9 seconds. That means he's found half a second in the middle sector as well. Looking like a pretty solid lap time from him. 2 seconds up, of course. He could well be looking at a top spot if he gets this last sector together. No invalidation here. I always get this terrible front wing camera on the exit of Stowe, so I have to go on board. DTR Shabby retires. He believes he's done enough, and I would say he probably has. So let's have a look now. VR Lars goes top by about 6/100ths of a second. Now quickly changing to Jirofu, who goes fast himself. First man into the 26s. 26.8, and is well clear of the rest right now. Kart Racer, his NLR teammate, is now next up and will be crossing the line, hopefully getting a good lap time in for himself. And he goes second. It's currently a 1-2 for NLR, 27.0. And those lap times should well be getting quicker in Q3 as Peace spins there again. And that is another lap time gone for him. And he's very much under pressure. Can he even get back into the pits and back out again? It's going to be really close.
He He has to get back in and out. And that could be very close now with 4.5 minutes to go. A very long pit lane around Silverstone as well. He's gonna have to hurry up.
That could indeed be a big blow for Relentless so far, as a Dark Smith right now for the Alpine team, for QRT, is the next one to cross the line. He's had a very good middle sector, in fact, and now crossing the line, coming around the club corner, and he goes third, just 2/100ths behind Kart Racer, and slots himself very nicely into that P3 position. Quickly have a look here. I think Kieran is next up on a fast lap. Other than that, doesn't seem like anyone going too quick at the moment. I can't see anyone anyways. It's just Kieran now through Sector 1.
Yes, Kieran just going through Sector 1. I believe he'll be hoping for an improvement of at least 2 or 3 tenths to get himself up into that top 5. I think, yeah, once you are beating Shabby, you should be able to go through easily. I mean, you have to say, Shabby might actually be in trouble here. He's been dropping a few places. Maybe he's retired too early.
It could be, but we've already seen Seep, who has obviously managed to just about get through into Q2 by the skin of his teeth. Maybe Shabby is looking for the same as that. Did he just take the grass there a little bit? As he invalidates there, Kieran, yeah, exiting cops. Maybe going slightly on that grass on the entry might have upset that momentum and didn't provide as much grip, the left-hand side of his tires. So he'll just have to hope that this lap is enough. Right now he's improving by half a second. So yeah, that is very disappointing for him. So we got a spin there from Ayub. That would be... Oh, not an outlap as well. Ooh.
Quick update on Peace. He's now back in the pits. So I think he'll make it round one more time. If he is quick enough, but it could be close.
I think it might get really close. Yeah, he has to go out as soon as he possibly can. It's not aided by the fact that he's in the Mercedes garage, so of course he'll have the longest way to go other than his teammate Relentless Mark. But unlike him, he is in P6, so he does have a little bit of something to fall back on at least. VR Lars himself is actually out as well, just seen that. So no more improvements from him. Yachty Jinx will be next to cross the lines. Jerofa retired from the session. He believes he's done enough. So does Kart Racer. And realistically, it should be enough for them.
I think they should be fine, yeah. I mean, 1-2 right now for the 2 NLR drivers. You love to see it as well. I think they should be through.
Mr. Rage, I think, is next. 104.1 though. It's not... actually, okay. It was, again, a failed display of an outlap. So thanks for that game. Mr. Rage has only now started his lap. And will be looking to improve. Now the top 5 are already out of qualifying, no more improvements for them. But we'll see.
Already up by 8.5 tenths in the first sector. Could be one to look out for here.
Oh, indeed, yes. And even 8.5 tenths, currently at 27.6. But you'd expect with Track Evolution, you would find some more time over the lap. So he might well be looking at a top 10 spot here for the VER team. Exiting cops, not invalidating. And that is a very good cops corner for him. Kieran has only now made it into the pit lane. Oh, that's how you've been validating, and that should, yeah, that's probably him out of qualifying. Depends how much fuel he does have in that car.
The ERS is very low as well, so even if he does make it on fuel, he's going to be out of ERS.
Oh, Jinx going slow as well. Not
Mr.
sure
Range validating as well now. Mr. Range will not be improving on this lap at least.
Let's have a look. Anybody else right now? There's a lot of inconsistencies here in this qualifying session. That bottom 5. Well, it's not locked in, obviously. We still have some drivers coming, but will Relentless Peace make it to the line? He's going to have to do a qualifying lap already for his outlap. So, currently got a yellow flag
42 seconds left and he's just coming out of Chapel. I think he will make it.
He's going to be really close on time, but he might just make it indeed.
About 10 seconds to spare, I think. Oh, and there's a slow AlphaTauri up ahead of him, which is Seep, who... Oh, he might not make the line now.
Ooh, indeed, that's close.
How much time is it left? We've got the yellow flags.
Yeah, yellow flags, indeed. Right,
could be very close for Seep.
I'm gonna just look at Peace now to see the flag does not come up for him, but will it come up for Seep now? There is no indication for it just yet. He will make it. 5 seconds to go. He made it. 6 seconds to go, and he will be the last driver then on a fast lap. I believe the first one to cross the line now, CPI Aizer, but he hasn't validated.
Oh, Kieran won't be improving. Kieran could be in trouble.
Kieran is done. Yep, that's no more improvements from him. Can't make it to the line.
First one out of the bottom 5 to finish this lap will be Mr. Rage. He is just on his way to cops now.
Yes, indeed. Mr. H, of course, he is on a slightly worn set of tires because he has already done one lap on that and has invalidated it, so not going to be...
6 tenths here.
Yeah, it's not going to be ideal for him at all.
Oh,
But
he's out!
Oh, okay, well, that seals the deal then.
Next one. He needs 3 tenths to beat his teammate.
Yeah, but indeed, Isa has already crossed the line, so no more improvements coming from him as well. And Noxy, through that middle sector, how much is he improving by? It is half a second, so right now he would indeed be putting his teammate out of qualifying. It might well endanger Kieran as well.
I actually missed Ayub, he is in the final corner now, sorry.
Yeah, here we go, yeah. Just seen that one as well. Ayub through the Vale chicane. It's already got a lap on that tyre as well, but he got second. Very strong for him. That's him definitely through into Q3. And Noxy up to P5. And that means Sieb is around indeed, out of Stowe corner. And Pease indeed makes it into Q3 as well. So that means our bottom 5 is, our bottom 5 is locked in. With Black Mamba for DTR falling short by about 1/10 of a second to ERT Jinx. Kieran out as well. I'm sure he would have expected much more. That is a massive surprise and a big blow for him too. Obviously we know, very, very strong driver in qualifying particularly, but in the race, of course, a really, really strong driver. Aza's out as well for CPI. Mr. H as well. So after an extremely strong last round for SBS, no driver featuring in Q3 either. And the last driver, I haven't quite seen that. That was IRT Sieb, who has not set a representative lap in this Q2 session for the IRT team. So again, only 15th and 17th for the team. And with rain hitting, it's only going to be more difficult to get a better lap time down. But the only man into 26th, NLR Jirofu, is seemingly a big favourite here for pole position for this British Grand Prix, with his teammate Cardrace as well, only 1.5 tenths down in P3. Split it by Ayub for the VER team, a very strong lap from him into P2. I've got one QRT driver in Q3 with Derek Smith. We've got one CPI driver with Noxy. Both relentless cars, in fact, in Q3 with Pease and Mark. VR as well with both cars. The last has also made it in as P7. Then we've got the solitary DTR and ERT runners of Shabby and Jinx. So I'm going to ask as well here into the chat as well, who do you think will be on pole position? And in fact, to you as well, who do you think is going to be a favorite to make out here?
Well, I would say it's between the top 4 of Q2, so Derek Smith, Kartracer, Ayub and Girofu. I think those 4 have been taking the pace throughout qualifying, as well with Kieran, but of course he's not in qualifying anymore, which is a big shock to me. I think out of those 4, I'm gonna go with Kartracer. I think he's got a bit more in his locker, and I think he's gonna come in at the end and, well, ideally I'll take either of the 2 NLR drivers, preferably a 1-2, and then just drive away at the front, dominate,
well,
not let anyone else even go into contention.
Well,
of course, well, that probably won't be happening, and I think actually as a commentator I probably don't want that actually. That would be pretty boring race probably. So I guess we'll see a fight for the win and for qualifying for the pole, but in the end, of course, NLR will win. At least that's my prediction, my hope.
Yeah, of course, we are always obviously always supporting the boys. It is to be expected, but obviously throughout this session we are going to be somewhat hiding that bias. It's not exactly a big bias, is it?
I will put my bias on full display.
Oh my word! Well,
I've given up.
No, there's a reason why I'm the main commentator then, I suppose. Alright, so VR Ayub with a very strong last Q2 lap is also going to be the first one who will set a lap time in Q3. Shortly behind that, obviously separated by DTR Shabby, you've got ERT Jinx. I would say the ERT driver I wouldn't maybe have expected in Q3. With Kieran, we know how strong he is, and unfortunately, yeah, he's had that invalidation late in the session and couldn't make it around, so a big chance of point in qualifying also gone for the ERT team, but now it's going to be down to Jinx to see how much he can pull out of the bag for himself. Driver's heading out actually relatively late, but ideally probably only 2 runs for every driver. 12 minutes is definitely not going to be enough to get 3 laps in, particularly with that pit lane. But Ayub now, the first driver to start a lap.
Yeah, on a track like Austria, maybe you can do 3 runs, or maybe Spain, for example, could be one as well. Monaco even, but certainly not around here. Just too long of a pit lane, too long of a track to go for 3 runs in 12 minutes.
Yep, that is, it's always very difficult around here, so you have to sort of maximize the track whenever you are going out, because obviously some drivers will also only have 1 set of tires, so it is down to them if they want to use a used set of tires on the first lap or just not go out at all. Obviously, for them it's always better to have a banker, but ultimately it's down to the drivers. And Ayub now heading through the middle sector, down the old pit straight and into Copse Corner.
Yeah, Ayub looking like a good lap here. I think it's been pretty clean, but that might be the lap. Oh, no, he's gotten away with it.
Okay. That is obviously not the best look for him, but ideally for himself he would improve with a later lap as well. But let's have a look through that middle sector. 103.2, it is a very strong middle sector, so... Well, we'll have a look at that one after all. See how this pans out in the end. Obviously still has a sector to negotiate with Stowe Corner starting that as we have a NLR driver. I think that's Kart Racers made a mistake there out of Luffield. As now Ayub crossing the line, first lap of the session. We are already into 26s, 26.877. The status Jinx spinning around and unfortunately losing his lap time there in the very last corner. Shabby will be next to cross the line for the DTR team in the Ferrari. 27.1 is already 3/10 shy of that one. Lars is now starting lap time, so next up we have got Derek Smith. Seeing he's been a very strong driver, very strong performer in qualifying, but also in the race. So he's going to be looking to get himself far up the grid. There we go. As Club Corner negotiated 27.0. Next up it's a Mercedes. That is Relentless P's 27.6. CPI Noxy will be next to cross the line, heading through Stowe Corner. 103.2 through that middle sector. So if he gets that last sector together, he might well be looking to beat Ayub. But that is a bit of a mistake there through the second part of the Vale chicane. And only P3, I think that must have lost him quite a bit of time. 27.1. Next, I think only Jirofu now on the lap, unless I'm missing something.
Just starting one now. Mark's on the lap.
Yeah, indeed. Just seen that. Relentless Mark
and Lars.
On the hanger straight. Lars? Oh, okay, it must have been Ayub then slowing down in front of the S's. But let's have a look. Relentless Mark managing the Stowe Corner pretty well. Now braking for the Vale chicane. Again, he might have missed that curb ever so slightly. The second part looked much nicer then as crossing the line. P6 only. That could have been a used set of tires. Looking at them, I think it is.
Relentless guys are on used tires. Looking at that gap, half a second from P's to Shabby. So surely they are on used tires, or they've made mistakes on the lap.
Yeah, it must have been. I've just looked at Relentless Mark's tires himself, and they didn't look in good shape at all. As next up, VR Lars now crossing the line, making it a 1-2 provisionally for VR. I'm just pointing it out here. A 1-2 at the moment. Obviously a very nice look for the team, who currently are sitting only in P7 with 13 points, tied with ERT. But obviously currently there are some points up for grabs in qualifying, so they'll be maximizing their performance. Jirofu now through the middle sector, 103.2. We have seen that one before from 2 drivers, so
that's equal to Ayub. We could see a pole position from Gero here.
Yep, he is looking very strong right now, and we know how much he likes this track. He's been racing for us in a lot of events, but Silverstone is a track which every driver must love, honestly, and every team will be looking to pick the best drivers. That is P2 for the moment. 26.9. Can't beat Ayub for the moment. Very strong lap time then from the VER driver, and right now I don't think anybody is on a fast lap, so
yeah,
we must be waiting.
Will be the next one to start one. He actually abandoned his lap time earlier, he just went back to the pits.
Okay.
So he's now back out, and he will be the first one. I think this will be his last lap as well, since surely he might have time for another one after this.
It might
so
well
I think my car prediction is in trouble.
Yeah, it could be a bit difficult. He must now pull out a wonder lap if he wants to get that pole position for himself. However, I can say he has set a 126.6 in PSGL. I remember that because I was his teammate, again, pointing that one out. But yeah, he also really likes Silverstone, and so he'll be hoping that something like his PSGL lap is up for grabs for him. And actually, he is into the pits.
That is surprising.
Well, maybe he has that extra set of softs lying around and is now just waiting to go out a bit later, but why would he go out now then in the first place?
I have no idea what he was trying to do. He just went out for an outlap and went back to the pits.
That is interesting to say the least.
I'm sure there's some thought process behind this, but...
Well, yeah, must be. I mean, he wouldn't do that for no reason, I'd say, so... okay, well...
he's gonna have to explain that one to me later.
But I mean, then at least your pole position claim is back on, if he does end up going out, which, I mean, realistically he should.
I would hope he goes out back out again. He still doesn't have a lap yet.
Yeah, indeed. He's the only one along with ERT Jinx who hasn't set a lap, though the latter is currently on the track for his out lap, so he will be by far the first driver to set a lap. Obviously, if he can keep it valid, he's maybe just trying to avoid the traffic, as I think
it's car backfire. If we look at the time, they might leave the pits just as he starts his lap.
I think. Yeah, it could be close on that one.
If they go out now, they'll be right in his way.
And in Sector 1 as well, it's not the most optimal place on the track to actually get out of the way. I think he might just get away with it.
Yeah, they haven't gone out yet, and if they go out now, he'll be ahead of them.
Yeah, I think realistically, particularly with how slow and how long the pit lane is, he should be getting away with that. So ERT Jinx now has the track for himself, and will be embarking on his on his final lap in this qualifying session, though his first timed lap, and hopefully for himself he will get that one down, as yeah, no lap time set. 2 drivers will not score points in qualifying, of course, only the top 8 are getting points for this session. Therefore he'll be looking to get a lap time on the board, which is going to propel him up the order from P9 right now.
Yeah, the rest of the field leaving the pits now as well. You can see Lars as well as Daryl Smith already out of the pits, the second VR car as well moving now, so yeah, we're getting ready for the last couple laps in qualifying here, and it should be a very exciting fight for pole position.
Yes, indeed, it's always crunch time here when it gets down to those 10 drivers fighting it out for pole position. And the order should seem relatively clear. Ideally, we don't have actually too many teams who've got both cars into Q3, so it should be not that difficult to actually keep an eye on so far. As yellow flag in Sector 1, don't think that's actually worth noting, yeah. As ERT Jinx...
103.2!
Oh my, we've seen that
even
so many times!
Than Ayub.
This is actually, yeah, this is going to be so close, isn't it? This fight for pole position, and the track won't be getting that incredibly much better, so he might well be on for a really strong position here. ERT Jinx, now coming through the Bell chicane, needs a good exit out of here.
Oh, that was the deal.
Looks like, yeah, he's a bit of understeer there, but P3 for the moment.
Lost in the last sector.
Must have, yeah. That is the main area of loss for him. VR Lars will then be next to start a lap time, and in fact will be the first of those proper final runs. And we've actually got a Relentless car. Just seen that. We've got Relentless P's leaving the pit lane extremely late.
Oh, he's gonna have to hurry. Yeah, he's gonna have to go quickly.
He's
got about 5 seconds to spare.
He's gonna have about 5 to 10 seconds maybe, yeah, because wow. And
yeah, he was up by 132, and 127 is a normal lap, so he has 5 seconds to spare. He has to go as quick as possible.
Oh my word, this is some incredible tacticking here from Relentless.
I mean, he wants all the track evolution. Every single second.
He wants to make everything of the Silverstone circuit, as later in the session, of course, it will get better, but the first one to keep an eye on, VR Lars, with a 27.3. That is a very good first sector, and he'll be looking to build on that throughout this lap. He's obviously only around 2/10 down on his teammate, who is currently on pole, and out of Luffield. Let's have a look at his lap time. There's some yellow flags. I'm not sure if these are actually legit, because there's been one in Sector 1 too, where Ayub is on
outlaps. Don't worry.
Okay, alright, so next up, actually first up, there we go, VR Lars, now into the S's, the first proper run in anger here in Q3 on the final runs. Chapel, it looks like a very strong run for him indeed, stays in 5th gear, so now with the 103.1, he is the first one to set a lap time like that in the middle sector, now through Stowe Corner. Let's have a look, will he get this one right? ERT Jinx is out, so obviously he can't set any lap times anymore, he's done everything he could have done, and that's an invalidation, oh! That is very unlucky, and that sees the pole position possibility for VR Lars gone. Let's see his lap time anyways, as he comes across the line, spins around as well for good measure. So that is it for him. Next up, Derek Smith now into the Vale chicane, currently with a 27.079 for the Alpine driver. Let's see if he can put anything more into that one. He should be on for a 26.6. Pole position at the moment. What a lap from him. Ayub is next to cross the line, but he is down. So that's no improvement from him. He must have made a big mistake in that lap.
And a half. Could be seeing him jump on the pole here. Noxie is about to finish his lap. Shabby up by 30. Oh, Shabby's in the grass. Never mind. Oh. He's out of it.
Got quite a few drivers now choking under pressure a little bit, but Noxie has been slightly down in the middle sector. He could at least still improve on his lap time as, big snap of oversteer, spins around as well. Another driver who's fallen short of this. So next up, we've got NLR's kart racer. Through the last sector, 103.1. He might well be competing for this pole position after all. After his slightly controversial runs there in qualifying. But out of the Vale chicane, it is second place only for him at the moment. 26.8. Jirofu now coming. He's 2/10 up on his lap time. Jirofu up to P2. So 2 and 3 for NLR right now. We've got the two relentless drivers.
Peace is the last one on a lap. Peace will be the last one to put in a lap in this qualifying session.
Yes, indeed. You've got Relentless P's now through the Vale chicane again. Obviously, Mark hasn't validated, so stays 10th. Will it be any points? Yes, indeed. P5 for Relentless P's, the last driver to go into the 126s. And that is Derek Smith then, with a very strong lap, who gets himself onto pole position here and picks up 10 points for this qualifying session, with NLR scoring strongest in this qualifying session overall. The drivers are separated by 8 1/1000ths of a second. Jirofu and Kart Racer both with a 26.8. VR's Ayub in 4th with another 27.8. Very strong performance from him. Shame that he couldn't get a better lap time in later on, because he would have well competed. Third row will be shared by Relentless Pete and ERT Jinx. VR Lars unfortunately invalidated his lap as well, so he's down in 7th. He could have competed as well. CPI Noxie sharing the 4th row of the grid with him in that McLaren for CPI. And rounding off the top 10, only drivers without points in this Q3 session are DTR's Shabby and Relentless's Mark. And now the question is, since we've had a lot of drivers in chat and a lot of people in chat pointing out there will be weather hitting in the race, what is the point of time going to be for that, firstly? And secondly, how well will the drivers adapt to it?
And the rain is here immediately.
Oh my.
We are starting in the rain. Now, the interesting thing is that we've got 2 NLR drivers in the top 3, and Derek Smith is on his own. His teammate is, I don't remember where his teammate is, but he's not in the top 10 at least. So he's on his own against 2 NLR drivers. That could be a factor. Might be seeing those who work together to overtake him. I think we are on inter conditions. Surely this is not enough for full wets, and definitely too wet for dries.
I don't really see any puddles either currently. I'm still seeing the pit lane, but there's no puddles in there. So I would say probably intermediate conditions as well. Rain doesn't look like it's torrential or anything like that. So yeah, as you said, a very strong performance from NLR, but nobody could match that 26.6 from Derek Smith. Extremely strong lap from the QRT driver, securing pole position for the QRT team. One of the exciting new arrivals, of course, this season. And they'll be looking to get a strong performance in, and maybe NLR are looking to capitalize on that weak, or comparably weak qualifying from Relentless on their championship chase.
Right then, the formation lap has
started. Oh, I've got Alex Jage talking about my formation lap, great.
Yeah, that's of course always the issue of broadcast formation lap, but yeah, thankfully we are using broadcast because it doesn't cause any issues.
Yeah.
And I guess it's better than no formation lap at least, so we at least see the tires before the race starts, and indeed, every single driver on intermediates.
Yeah, of course, it's it's predicted to be a one-stop from inters to inters, but if we've got anybody in chat knowing about the weather throughout the race, it would be very good if you could inform us about that. Right now, obviously, it is wet, so it is inters, but
I'm saying if it stays inters, people will be doing 0 stops.
Quite
the pit
possible.
lane is so long that it's not worth it.
Yep. I would think so as well. The only factor that could come in for a intermediate pit stop would be a safety car, but yeah, we'll have a look how possible that will be, because not maximum risk, I suppose, will be taken by the drivers. I don't think everyone would have practiced for the wet conditions, but for now we are just running up to those 5 red lights in Silverstone for what I'm sure will be an absolutely exciting race. Here they come on, 5 red lights, and now on ahead of the drivers. And it is lights out, and away we go, finally! So here we go then, Derek Smith now gets away off the line, but Girofo already pulls alongside, and now on the inside of turn 1 there's contact between the two, and it looks like they are still side by side indeed. Kart Racer can just about pull himself ahead of Relentless Peace, but Girofo to the inside still of Derek Smith, can't make anything work for the moment. Kart Racer now is actually through into second, so a swap there, got Relentless Peace actually to the inside of Kart Racer, actually Girofo that is, and no position swaps going on there. It's just the two NLR drivers swapping position. No real drama actually at the back there. We've got a Red Bull. Yep, we are last. Yeah, that is a spin for him and a very unlucky start to his race. But
look at
no
Kieran,
other troubles really.
Already.
Oh my word! Look at Relentless Peace.
Driver.
Look at Relentless Peace already on the attack. He is through over Girofo, but they're still side by side now, heading into the old turn 1 Cop's corner. But now Girofo gets through with the superior straight line speed.
Oh, contact! Ayup just about caught him, but he's losing to Shabby.
And look at Kieran now.
Is coming up behind him as well. Kieran with an amazing start.
Oh, Noxie's out. Could that cause a safety car now? That must have been a crash then on the exit of Stowe. Kieran is up to 6th. What a start from him indeed, as you have pointed out. Brilliant start from the ERT man, and he's up to P6. But
could be
right
P5.
now,
he's going out after Ayub.
Yep, he's still pushing for it. It's an absolutely brilliant start from the man
fighting
here.
Derek Smith round the outside. Contact made.
Ooh.
But Derek Smith keeps the position.
Oh my, look at this, it's still going on. Kart Racer to the outside. Oh, and he's through. He looks like he's through, and now it's looking like Girofo might be able to profit from this. Not quite the best exit from Derek Smith as well, but now it's going to be difficult in those wet conditions. Kart Racer finishes that first lap in the lead. Kieran must have had a bit of a snap there of oversteer as he's gone to the inside of turn 1 a bit earlier than he maybe would have wanted to. Relentless Peace putting his name fully on display here, putting relentless pressure on the NLR man. Girofo, who's again to the inside, into the loop, and now exiting that. Who is going to have the better traction? Oh no.
But they've both saved it. They've just lost a couple of positions.
In fact, Kieran is seemingly held position for the moment. But oh my word, there's still a lot of action going on. Relentless Peace is putting so much pressure on the NLR driver of Girofo. This is absolutely brilliant racing from the Mercedes man and the NLR driver for Alfa Romeo. But Girofo can just about hold on. I think it's in the corners the difference really. As Girofo is actually getting away ever so slightly on the straight. Aizen might have made a mistake there. Yes, he's off.
Yes, and he's reset the track.
Oh,
which could be a penalty as well if somebody does report that.
Well, it's pointed out now in the chat, so yeah, here we go. It's Ayub now through on Jigs. So the two ERT drivers swapped positions in that incident there. And Ayub stays in P6 then, so pretty decent from him overall.
Shabby has quietly moved up into the top 5. I believe he got past Ayub and Kieran when those two made contact and went off at turn 3.
In fact, I'm going to just quickly enable the position change to further demonstrate this one. The only one holding position is Derek Smith. As Kart Racer, though, he is still looking to take that lead away from the Alpine man. Oh, if this is only lap 2, I'm just saying, if it continues like this, we're not going to have any boys tomorrow, but we're going to have to cover the action as well as we possibly can here. Derek Smith sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far, but Kart Racer is keeping him honest all the way, and obviously now where the DRS would be enabled, unfortunately it's not due to the rain on the racetrack. Now it's going to be a tactical game. Oh, Peace has made a mistake there. Yes, indeed.
Shabby is trying to get past him now.
Shabby to the inside couldn't make that work just about. Better traction for the Mercedes driver. But if it continues like this, then it's definitely going to have to be a team game from NLR to try and get past Derek Smith, who has held off the attacks, the early attacks of Kart Racer. So a very, very interesting prospect from this race. I think Kieran is actually still on the attack there behind Ayub. Oh, there's some contact!
And Kieran has damage as well! Ayub in the wall, Ayub is still in the race, but he has no front ring at all.
Oh my word, there's some more incidents now happening. That's now the position swap there for the ERT driver. Smart choice really to do. Mark gets through on Kieran as well, and that probably has to be a pit stop. Yep. Too much damage.
His front ring is massively damaged. Mark now attacking Drinks as well, round the outside, through brackets, and into Chapel now on the inside. Contact made! Oh, but just about Mark hangs on.
Let's see though now, a bit of overtake being used for the Mercedes man. Is there a possibility for a move to be made? There's the two SBS drivers at the back, swapping position. Looks to the inside, relentless Mark, but can't make it work. However, makes Jinx go really deep there. More contact being made.
Jinx off as well.
Oh, that is a... Oh.
Indeed, Kieran is in the pits, and Jinx is losing positions left, right and center now after that contact with
Oh!
Mark.
Behind there we've
Down
got
to
Baby
P9.
Dukias as well, fighting with IRT Seep, which was not the cleanest battle I've seen. Just randomly swapped onto that as that position swapped there. Yeah, Seep seemingly lets him go. Okay. So that's pretty fair from him. Got Artem now looking to the inside. Black Mamba into Village. And he has got the move done if he stays ahead of the Ferrari. Yes, he has. Nice move from him. Caught that one pretty nicely indeed. So currently there's the top 5 who are staying pretty close together. Then a 3-second gap to Relentless Mark because of that ERT drama kicking off. So 4 laps into this race.
Back as well from the NLR drivers. Maybe he's ruined his tires a bit, pushing too hard, attacking those NLR drivers too much a bit.
Indeed, quite possible, yeah. We know also from the dry conditions, ERS does recover fairly well here, so it's going to be even more in the dry. It can't be the reason, ERS can't really be the reason for that drop-off. It must have been him maybe pushing a little bit too hard.
Interesting as well.
Shabby.
Both Alpha Male drivers, both NLR drivers, you can see the fuel light in the bottom right of the telemetry. They are low on fuel, so they have underfueled the car, which could indicate the rain will be here for a long time. Oh
yes, that's indeed true. That might have been a warning there for Shabby. I'm just staying on board with him because of that 2/10 gap between these two. Azades incident there in the SS.
Is going for it. Round the outside into Stowe.
He might have just had a little look there. Oh, he's trying to put as much pressure on as he can though, using overtake now down here into the Vale chicane. Now maybe looking for that switchback out of the second part, but very nicely covered off there from Derek Smith. And look at Jirova behind them with 95% ERS.
Oh, Derek Smith made a mistake, but he's held on. That might have been a warning though as he went off after the final corner. Awesome battle between those two at the front right now.
And I think Jirova is going to come into play here as well pretty soon with his battery loaded up all the way to 100%. Kart Racers used a lot, of course, to try and get past the Alpine man. But hasn't quite managed to do so. But eventually, if there might be the need, then Jirova can maybe pull past his teammate and attempt it for himself. Now using some of his battery, so it's going to be very, very interesting and very tough for sure for Derek Smith to hold on to.
Yeah, of course, it's a team play factor that I was talking about. NLR have 2 drivers, so double the battery that they can use, and well, in this condition of course not, but in the dry they could also play some DRS games together, just putting each other along. Of course, not the case in the rain, but still, the ERS factor applies. Kart Racer can use his to try and overtake Derek, and once he runs out, he can let Garofo go and let him have a go at him.
Oh, especially drove a bit wide there.
Especially with both of them so equal on pace, both NLR drivers. It doesn't really matter who's attacking him because they are both able to stay close and go for that move.
Indeed, we've seen it already in qualifying. The two drivers were separated by just 8/1000 of a second, and it carries well over into this race as well so far. And look at that behind there, DTR Shabby swapping positions maybe with Relentless Peace. He is to the inside of Stowe corner. That's an off there for a Red Bull. I think that is Ayub now coming back to the track. But now let's have a look quickly. Will Shabby be holding on to this position? Oh, Peace is back to the inside. Let's have a look at this one. Exiting the Vale chicane. This is going to be very interesting, isn't it? Oh, not much space up for grabs there for Peace, but he can't manage to defend that position. And Shabby is through into P4. Already making up 5 positions from his starting position of P9. Really strong showing for DTR so far, as we've got Black Mamba in P8 in the points as well.
Yeah, elbows out from all drivers there. I mean, we've been seeing some pushing and shoving all over the field. Well, it's really the only way to pass in the rain, is it? It's much more difficult, of course, without DRS. These cars do need DRS to pass normally. So seeing these drivers continue to go for those moves is very nice to see. And shows the competitive spirit that they are showing today.
Absolutely fantastic. I can only agree with that one. Kieran now from 16 sets the fastest lap, but that's not the way he would have imagined these opening laps to go. But that early Q2 exit might have just hurt him in that one. He's had a strong opening lap, opening 2 laps in fact, but then got caught up in that incident with Ayub, who himself is at the back as well. So very unlucky from them. Could have possibly been a warning there for Derek, as I've just been on board with him, but I think maybe he just about got away with that.
I'll check for warnings in the top 3 quickly.
Ah yeah, true.
Derek is on 2.
Oh.
Kart Racer is also on 2. Girofo is also on 2.
Oh
but
my.
I'm not sure if those are, if some of those might be contact, especially the lap 1 ones might be for contact.
You can maybe check in incidents as well, if there's any collision warnings there. It's
Good
quite
idea.
possible.
Okay, yeah, the Derek and Girofo, one for collision each. Girofo has 1 exit the track limits, Kart Racer, one of them is a collision.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I think most of them are warnings for collisions.
Yeah, they all got 1 track limit warning then, I suppose, so...
I think so, yes.
Not too much to worry about just yet, but of course, not ideal in this so early on into the race. Even still, we've seen. Actually, I can say that for myself as well. In PSGL, we've also had a wet race. That is Yachty Jinx at Black Mamba, actually. Quickly just touching on that. If the camera wants to change, there we go. Jinx gets through on the Ferrari driver. In PSGL, we also had a wet race, and Kart Racer eventually suffered from wheel problems. So I really hope that's not going to be a case today. It was essentially.
Come into the custom.
Well, quite possible. Hopefully not, but yeah. If that happens, obviously I'm sorry. But now Kart Racer saved up some ERS again, and maybe backed off a little bit for a few laps to save that battery and try to go for it again in a few laps time. Now it's lap 7. Obviously still a long way to go, but he's now saved up some ERS to try and go for that position again. Derek doing very strong to hold on.
Yeah, interesting as well that Kart Racer is just so close the entire way through. He's putting a lot of pressure on Derek, and I think one mistake, which is what Kart Racer is waiting for, because I think he's realized no matter what he tries, he can't really get past Derek Smith. He's been side by side a couple of times, and each time Derek Smith just about held on. So I think Kart Racer's best hope here to take the lead is waiting for a mistake from the Alpine driver. So I think he's trying to pressure him into making one.
And yes, indeed. I mean, look at how close he is staying. This is amazing stuff from Kart Racer so far. And what I find even more impressive here is that Derek Smith does not seem to be pulling away in the corners that much. So it can't be too much down to setups. It could possibly be the same setup for the two, but Kart Racer is definitely looking like the faster driver out of the two, putting a lot of pressure into Village there, but can't make anything work. But if Derek Smith manages to hold on to that, it is going to be extremely impressive. Now he's on slightly deep, but not quite enough for Kart Racer to stay
on the exit, which cost him there. Shabby though is actually catching up to Garofalo. He's almost within 1 second, which of course isn't that important in the rain, but still, he's getting closer and closer. Could get back into this 5 in a race win here.
Indeed, yes. He's had a very...
Lars is in the pits for a drive.
Oh! Has it stopped raining?
No, it hasn't. It's still raining. That's a very interesting call.
I mean, well, he's all the way down the back. He might as well try it, but that
early... was in the pits as well. Are both VER drivers going for this? I'm going to keep an eye on him.
I think they are. Yes, it has stopped raining now, actually. If I look at the onboard of the cars, it has stopped raining, and that might have well been a warning for Derek Smith.
This could be an issue for NLR then, because they can't box both at the same time without double stacking.
That is true,
Same for Relentless, actually.
Oh, yeah.
In general, for any team with two drivers close together right now, which, well, NLR is the main one, as they are in P2 and 3, and surely if they box at the same time, Garofalo's going to drop back behind Shabby at least, maybe even Peace.
Oh, that is a late stop from Derek Smith. He just pulled into that one.
I think he managed not to cross the line though. Garofalo is staying out.
Yep. That is
the double stack, but he's gonna lose more time staying out than he would have by pitting, I think.
I suppose maybe because he's got so much ERS, the NLR drivers might have agreed to keep Garofalo out here to push as much as he possibly can with the battery that he has got. But yeah. Now I'm going to change the tyres, obviously the detailed tyres. Hard tyres. Okay, so they are looking to go to the end. And Kart Racer has jumped Derek Smith in the pits. And that is crucial. That is crucial for how this race is going to go.
But now we have to keep an eye out on the gap. I'll put the gap on leader and see how the gap from Kart Racer to Garofalo develops. See if which of the two is faster right now. And if Garofalo might come out ahead or behind them. I think he will be behind them because the track looks dry.
I mean, yes, that could be true, but then again, with these track temperatures, with these track conditions, and everyone on hards, it could well pose a difficulty with the tire warm-up, so...
I mean, we have of course seen the opposite happen in Mexico, where the rain came down, and, well, I suffered from it actually, which is why I probably remember it so well. I went into Inters, and it took like 10 laps for the Inters to finally get faster, and by the time it was fast, the race was over.
Okay.
We might be seeing the opposite of that now, where it looks like it's dry, but the Inter is still faster. But I'm not sure.
I'm almost thinking that the tire warm-up for the hards is going to be pretty poor. Garofalo now into the pit lane, so as predicted, it's a no-brainer really. Everyone on the dry tires.
Kart Racer actually immediately pulled a pretty good gap to Derek Smith. I think he might have been able to warm the tire a bit faster than the QRT driver, potentially running some higher tire pressures. And of course, on the hard tire, you can run tire pressure pretty much as high as you want, and it should be fine.
That is true. That is actually true indeed. Let's see now Garofalo into the pits. Of course, we'll be heading onto hard tires too. Yes,
Yeah,
medium
where will he
tires
come
obviously
out?
won't go the way. We found that out ourselves. So let's have a look now. Kart
I'm surprised
Racer.
nobody went for mediums. I would have thought at least one would try it, but nobody has.
Yeah, maybe speculation for a safety car. Look at Kart Racer, who's broken the DRS window for now. So really
Yeah,
impressive
Kart
job.
is
Look at
flying.
Jirofu is ahead, and he's well
Oh,
ahead.
wow!
Wow, now that is absolutely brilliant for NLR so far. As Jirofu,
I
well,
did
he will
not
be
expect
struggling with
that.
tyre warm-up, but he will have Kart Racer to fall back on as a bit of a buffer for this phase of tyre warm-up. And right now, it's a 1-2 for the cars of NLR in that Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, and if they play this smart now, Jirofu's in the wrong mistake. Probably gonna let Kaiser pass here. Or Kaiser is gonna stay behind him and make sure that Derek Smith. No, Jirofu's letting him pass. So if those two play it smart now, they can maybe work together, get out of DRS range to Derek Smith, and just run away with it. That was probably the dream.
DRS has now
enabled.
been enabled, so now Jirofu will have to obviously keep pretty close to his
Derek Smith is all
teammate.
over him.
Oh yes, indeed, but Cops Corner is not an overtaking spot, is it? I would have
Kaiser's
thought
gonna have
maybe...
to slow down a bit. He's gonna have to let Jirofu stay in DRS here if he wants his teammate to keep P2.
Oh,
Derek Smith's
this is
going for it in the
very
back
close.
is he?
Oh, he just backs out of that one, but it is DRS range for Jirofu crucially. But look at how close that Alpine is. It's going to still
Yellows
be really difficult.
for Mr. H.
Yeah, Mr. H is around there. Let's have a look now into this hangar straight. They're going to have to push to the maximum, but it looks like more straight line speed for Jirofu, because despite the slipstream for Derek Smith, nothing he can do there. Has a look to the inside.
He's sending it down the inside anyway.
Oh, this is going to be so close. Oh, it's get pushed slightly off the track there. Jirofu, for now, loses the position, but it's still on the inside for the Bell Chicane. Now trying to get the switchback maybe on the Alpine drive. They can't do that. So Kart Racer will now have to pull away as much as he can so that Jirofu can get back through with the DRS.
And he has 1.3 seconds. Derek moves out of DRS range. Could be very important for Jirofu. His only chance to get past Derek Smith will be in the DRS zones. And if the Alpine driver doesn't have DRS, it would be massively helpful for him.
Yes, indeed. The slipstream, of course, does play an effect here, and the DRS, yeah, it looks like Kart Racers easily managed to keep out of the DRS range from Derek Smith. So, if Jirofu plays this well and gets past Derek Smith when he can, and maybe even gets on the back of Kart Racer again, then it might be looking very, very good for those in the Alfa Romeo colors. And 1.6 seconds, Kart Racer is a lot quicker right now, isn't he?
Yeah, what is interesting as well, Jirofu, of course, ran in Q1 on the intermediate tires, and I actually noticed his impressively quick intermediate time in the dry. So, I'm saying it's a genius move by Jirofu and everyone else who went in the intermediates. They've practiced for the situation.
Oh my! I mean, if that was actually intended, then
I doubt
fair
it was.
play. But oh.
Putting in practice for the inter on dry conditions, that would be quite something. I don't think we're on that level of sweat even in this league.
What I've actually just realized is Relentless Peace has got past Shabby, so it must have been in the pit stops then, because I haven't seen any on-track moves there. So Peace quietly up to 4th with his teammate Mark in P6, so still some pretty solid points right now for Relentless. Kart Racer, fastest lap of the race, so he is really making his intentions clear in this British Grand Prix, and is maybe urging Jirofu to get a bit of a move on here.
Yeah, I mean, Kaiser really putting a gap on Derek Smith now. I mean, he's got over 1 second, which, well, in a division, or in a league, sorry, as close as this, that is a big margin. Of course, you would, in real Formula 1, 1.3 seconds is very, very close, but in esports level competition, that is worlds apart.
Indeed, it is really, really close. In chat, we've got a rain again. No, I think that was just a raindrop or a drop of water that was on the onboard camera. I've seen that as well, actually, but I haven't picked up onto it because, yeah, I don't think the rain is coming back unless some of the teams have different info on that. If you do, let me know, please.
I feel like if the rain was coming back, they wouldn't have gone to hards. So
yeah,
I think we'll be going to the end on dry tires.
Yeah, it might well have just been a short sprint on soft, maybe mediums then, but not the hard compounds, so probably dry conditions
if the rain was
now.
coming back, at least one person would have stayed on the inters, just trying it.
Yeah, true. Actually, some gambles might well have been made. As look at Derek Smith, really low on ERS. He's really tried to get back into the DRS range, but he hasn't managed to do so, and that could be crucial for Jirofu in this race.
That could be the chance for Jirofu to move back up into P2, and then maybe Kaiser dropping back a bit to let him up back into his DRS.
That would
I think that is the way to go
yeah.
here. Wait for Jirofu to pass Derek as he is run out of ERS. He will pass him at some point, I think. And once that happens, Kaiser can slow down just a bit and let his teammate back into the
Jofu with the time penalty! Oh, now this...
On top of that, Julian is actually spun, going through Stowe. Exiting Stowe. So he's lost a couple of places.
This is actually now going to really put a lot of pressure on Jirofu to get a move on, because those 3 seconds currently are costing him, well, only 2 positions right now due to the gap from Xavi to Mark, but still some crucial time loss right now, which would see him lose positions. And in a case of a possible safety car, which you can't rule out either, that would see him even more under pressure.
So disastrous.
Yeah, indeed. And now it's halfway through the race, more or less now. We'll be crossing the halfway mark as Kart Racer will cross the line.
Cars are very low on ES as well. He's just about above 10%, so he's pushing to keep Derek Smith out of the DRS range.
The good thing for him is that Derek Smith himself has even less DRS, but yeah, it's not that big of a difference at this stage. Therefore, now Jirofu is pushing a little bit, using a slight bit of ERS to just put that Alpine driver a bit more under pressure, to force him into a mistake, possibly, and then get a move on to the back of his teammate, because it doesn't look like Jirofu can pull away from the guys behind.
Yeah, interestingly, Grove is actually the only one with really any amount of ERS. Shabby's below 10%, Peace is just above 10% right now, Dax is below 10%, like in the top 5, Grove is the only one who actually has ERS right now.
So some very good tacticing from him then. If he manages to hold on to some of this, I would say he might still have a pretty decent shot at least on track getting away from Derek Smith, as Aza picks up a 3-second penalty in P8. In fact, I'm seeing a bit more penalties than maybe expected for Silverstone, but...
yeah, I think I'm going to turn on the penalty graphic actually. The tires are not that relevant right now.
True.
Because everyone is in the same tires. So, yeah, 6 seconds from Mr. H actually, and then 3 for everyone else as a penalty.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the graphic up as well now. I mean, right now it's just everybody on the hards, so it's not going to change that soon. Derek Smith now seemingly finding some pace again. He is only 7/100ths off that DRS, but now Kart Racer, I think he's realized that and started pushing out some more ERS, knowing that the detection point is right here, and yeah, the gap is big enough.
But he isn't actually going to lose position as of now. He's got 8 seconds to black number. But if there is a late safety car, especially 6 seconds is a huge amount of penalties to have.
Oh, look at Jirofu's coming.
ERS.
Yes, indeed. He's now to the inside of that Alpine driver, and he gets through well before the braking zone. Jirofu is through into P2 for the moment, but Derek Smith trying to come back at him, but he's just too far back. So Jirofu is back into second, making it an NLR on track, 1-2 at least. And Kart Racer will probably be told to slow down a little bit. Derek Smith!
What a save!
What a brilliant save from Derek Smith! But now Jirofu will have to try and get away from the Alpine driver now. What a save from him! We've been on board as well. And yeah, Kart Racer has slowed down to allow Jirofu into DRS range. And oh my word, what a save! That, yeah, Code Brown is all I'm saying here.
I'm still stunned. I cannot fathom what I just saw.
I thought it was the wall for sure. Jirofu actually doesn't have DRS. Okay.
He does have DRS on my screen.
The flap didn't open on my screen. That's good.
Interesting. Codemasters.
Good Codemasters. Cheers, lads. Okay then. Well, but that save will be talked about. Oh my word!
I still haven't properly realized what just happened. How did he keep that out of the barrier?
That is wow.
Like 90 degrees pointed to the left.
I mean, look, I'm just putting it into perspective here. We're talking about a save half a lap after this happened. So, yeah, that was quite impressive. Wow. Now Kart Racer maybe slowing down a little bit to increase the slipstream effect slightly. But yeah, Derek Smith is still keeping in that range. But he will have to maybe regain his composure ever so slightly after this adventurous moment.
Yeah, I think the tactic for the NLR drivers now is for Giroffu to basically act as a shield for Kart Racer. Yeah. It doesn't matter if Giroffu gets overtaken. Oh, now Derek Smith is off! 1 lap after that amazing save! He's lost it going through Vale.
And through Vale? How has he lost that one then? I have been
and the penalty as well, but that will surely be removed.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous penalty.
Yeah, he got a penalty for A-spin, which seems very good. He's still in P5 though, which shows just how far away from the rest of the field those top 5 were.
Yep. Indeed, those wet conditions I think was really what made the difference there.
Crucial
Mark had a big gap.
With that Derek Smith spin, the 1-2 of NLR are out of DRS range.
Yep.
So if they get away from Peace now and he doesn't manage to catch him, maybe Giroffu can pull out that 3 seconds.
It could maybe even be that they could be swapping positions, at least if it's possible without a time loss, to try and get away from each other, or
Oh,
try and
late
get
on
away
you're
together.
saying maybe
But yeah.
Kais lets him pass and then just kind of blocks the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's actually another tactic. Yeah, that's...
I mean, that would be very risky. They would risk the win to get the 1-2, but I guess it could work. I don't think they'll go for that though. That is very, very risky.
Oh, Relentless Piece has just missed out on the DRS there by 3/100ths of a second. I think that was the last push that Drofus just made to get into
he was
DRS
on
range.
0% ERS, so he's really trying to get in that DRS, but I think he's gonna be out of it because he doesn't have any ERS to contend.
Particularly now, if Kart Racer if he manages to pull off a decent enough last sector, it should be absolutely fine to stay away from that Mercedes driver. Although he is finding some pretty decent pace in that last sector. Is Relentless Peace, and he's now well into DRS range. It now depends on what the NLR drivers can do together.
Yeah, it's crucial that he stays in the 1 second, because I think once they drop out of 1 second by more than a tenth or so, they're not gonna get back in.
Yeah,
Shabby, meanwhile, is actually outside the 1 seconds as well, just about in now.
Does he have any DRS?
Peace was inside 1 second. Peace does have DRS, I'm sure Shabby.
Oh,
so the NLR
okay.
drivers haven't gone away.
But I mean, Jirofu with about 25% batteries definitely got the most. Actually, no, Kart Racer with slightly over 30% has the most batteries, so that could also be crucial to maybe both pressing the ERS together to get away from the DRS range. But they'd have to pull 3 seconds in 10 laps, so that'll be a very difficult task.
Yeah, I think Jirofu was a big cloud of the penalty. I think he will end up finishing in P4, unless there is a late safety car which would finish even further down the field. Or something happens to Shabby and Peace, which, I don't want to hope on them. I don't want to wish on them, sorry. You never want the drivers to make mistakes like that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. ERT Jinx now picking up another penalty. Oh,
Jinx.
9 seconds.
And that will now cost him a place, 9 seconds.
Oh yeah, actually yes, it is. Because 8.5 seconds down to Lars, who in fact was recovered to 10th, so...
Shabby is also on 3% ERS and just about hanging on to the DRS, so...
Ooh.
They are pushing as much as they can to somehow stay in the DRS range.
We could well be losing a driver of this DRS lead train very soon, but Shabby looks like a very decent enough last sector. 9.5 tenths, he's gonna have to get a good turn 1 here to stay in this DRS range. And looks like he has... Ooh, has he managed to do it? Just about, yes. Ayub, yes, at the back. So strong quali, but then unfortunately not a good race from him so far. It hasn't been his day, really. VR at least have one car in the points with P10, which would become P9 because of that penalty for Jinx at the moment, ERT. So at least that Kieran from 16 sets another fastest lap. I mean,
yeah, really
it's a race what could have been for him.
Yeah, I think he would have been the 5 for that race win, I think, surely.
Absolutely.
Even without a better qualifier, even with that qualifying result he had such a great start, and yeah, he just got collected by Ayu spinning out, which is very, very unfortunate for him. He's just now on the back of Julian. So,
such
yeah,
a shame, yeah. It's
of course, there can still be a late safety car, which could save him, especially since he doesn't have a penalty.
Ooh, look at how close Jirofu is to Kart Racer right now. Could they maybe be setting up a swap?
Ayu was now in the pits, he might end up being lapped soon. If he's unlucky.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure how...
I think it might actually happen this time already, because...
It depends. I'm not sure how much time the guys will gain on him now. Could be close.
I feel
but
like
if he is lapped, this race is essentially over.
That's true. If they do get past him, then even a safety car won't save them. It's now 60 kilometers per hour for the Red Bull drivers, still limited down the pit lane, and I think that might be the final straw to his race, yep. It depends how much he can gain now, but he doesn't want to get in the way of this leading fight, does he?
Yeah, I think that is officially curtains for Ayub's race. Well, I guess he could overtake him and then there's a safety car, but even... I don't think he really wants to involve himself or ruin this fight for the race win somehow.
Yeah, exactly. That would be too much of impeding for those leading guys. As Kart Racer
Yellows for Ayub again, so yeah, he's slowing down now, he's letting people past. I think he might be going for fastest... No, he's on medium, so he's not going for fastest lap.
Maybe he doesn't have any more softs left, and the
I mean, he might do it anyway,
aren't
because
that good.
the current fast lap is on hard tires, so he might still be able to do it.
But true, hard tires and relatively much fuel. Though actually Kieran has said it relatively recently, but yeah, soft tires should overall still
Kieran
be
is
an
off now.
advantage.
Kieran is spun after I had a duel with Julian, I think. I saw on the timing tower. Might have been contact between the two of them.
I feel like NLR might be setting up a bit of a swap here, sooner or later, because 3/10s only between the two. Overtake being used at the moment. Slightly
yeah, I
at
think
least for
go for
Drofu.
it.
Yes, he
And
is.
indeed, Car is no defense from him. Letting him go.
Alright
Might
then.
we
so
see the old blockade being
have a look.
being
Building a
deployed
wall.
now?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I've had some interesting comments from other NLR drivers that have literally been a video title called "Nobody has the intention to build a wall," but maybe the NLR drivers do, and are trying to secure this 1-2. But it's going to be very difficult, isn't it? Look at how close Pease is keeping to the back of these two. So, we'll have a look.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to make Car block the other cars. That's not gonna work. Because Pease is too fast for that, he's just gonna go past him.
Yes, DRS
And
is
that would
overall
lose
just too strong.
NLR the race win. So, yeah, I think the best course of action they can do is to just secure the race win for Kart Racer and, well, probably P4 for Grofu.
Oh,
Grofu!
Drofu loses it there. Holds on
That
to
was
the car.
very close.
See if
Pease
there's
is
going
gonna
to
go
be
for a
any
moving Kart Racer.
Pease is
Pease gonna go
pushing.
for it. Round the
Yep.
outside into cops.
Kart Racer has to defend. Yellow flag
Yellows
there. That is
for Derek
Derek
Smith again.
Another race of what could have been. Held on so strong in those intermediate conditions, but now we have to keep an eye on this leading pack, because look at Pease picking up
Penalty
a
for
time
Pease.
penalty. That is crucial. That will be a very crucial factor in this leading fight. Will he now be pushing even harder to get past as Kieran leaves the session? I hope that is not actually what I hope it is. But yep, that is still holding position for Kart Racer. He had enough ERS, but that might well be a slight saving grace for Jirofu with those 3
as of
seconds of
now,
penalties.
We've got a guaranteed 1-2 for Kart Racer and Shabby, realistically. Unless they also get penalties.
Could you check the warnings for Shabby actually on that note, because that could be very interesting now in the leading fight.
Yes, I can. I'll look at the incidents just to make sure that. I think Shabby has none.
Oh, okay. Now this is very interesting.
I
Now,
can't
you've
see
done
any
the
for
past
Shabby.
lap on mediums,
And in
but
terms of Kart Racer, I think he's also on none.
wow,
No, he's on 1. Kart Racer is on 1 warning, Shabby is on 0.
damn. So that's a good one. Good job then from Shabby to keep penalties out of the way here. Pease is still putting a lot of pressure on the Alfa Romeo. So
I think Peace wants to go after Golofo, because of course that fight is for position.
oh yeah, of course, yeah. So I suppose that might be the reason why Kart Racer is now holding back to
Yeah, Kart
be a bit of a
Racer,
buffer.
he wants to have peace in between him and Shabby, because that will guarantee that he can't get overtaken and lose that race win.
Look at
Girofo
how
actually is
interesting
pulling away.
penalties are in this
Almost 1
tacticking.
second now.
So Girofo is really trying to pull away here. It's
Girofo
still
is
enough for
pulling
DRS
away, yes.
right now.
He was almost enough DRS.
Yeah, it would have been enough for DRS just about. The flap doesn't open on my screen. I don't get it, but okay.
DRS is open for Kart Racer on my screen.
Yeah, it's also open for Pease. I don't know.
Interesting.
Very interesting from the game there. Selective DRS flaps, but I mean, oh well.
With that amazing fight for the race, we've been kind of neglecting the midfield. I've got a battle
Completely.
between Mark and Artem for P5 here, although Artem does have a penalty. Artem actually, he's been having a very good race, hasn't he? He started he's up 11 places, yeah, very good race from the SBS driver.
It's really profited a lot from incidents happening, because we haven't, well, I would say we haven't seen much from the driver. Then again, we've been on the lead fight for the entire race pretty much, as Ayub is now out, having set the fastest lap.
Won't be a safety car.
Set the
Julian
fastest
actually
lap and
boxed for
retired.
softs, I believe. No, Kieran's on soft. Okay, that's an AI driver, so it won't be a fastest lap. So yeah, nobody pitting for that fast lap apparently. I don't think Ayub got it in the end, did he?
He did,
Oh,
actually,
he did. Okay, he did.
He did set a 128.6, I think, compared to mid-30s on the hard tires, something like that.
We might be seeing someone like Julian go for that. Box
Quite
the softs later
possible.
on.
Yeah, because he would only be gaining, actually wouldn't be gaining any places at all, so no gain from him at all.
Yeah, right now you might still be hoping to happen to get back to the top 10. But if that doesn't happen, I think we'll be seeing the guys outside the top 10 boxing for softs soon.
Quite possible, yep, indeed. As we've seen just IRT Seep swapping places there with Black Mamba, fighting a little bit for the wooden spoon right now as he gets up to P11 on track. But will be dropping at least one place on penalties. Julian spins around there, exiting Luffield. That is obviously even more time lost for the IRT driver, but I mean, down in 15th, effectively last due to Kieran's car being on AI. Very disappointing race for him again, unfortunately. Seep is close position-wise to the points. They both kind of take to the grass there, together with Black Mamba, who now pulls back past the AlphaTauri driver. We've got Mr. Rage behind them as well for SBS. Can't take profit of that battle happening. The Black Mamba now back up to P11.
9 seconds for drinks, these guys are still not going to be in top 10. So this fight is indeed for no points, sadly.
Yeah. So you see them great racing here up and down the field, and it's not really going to account for anything. One thing I do want to point out now is that Jirofu and Kartrace both around 50% ERS, while Peace is still only on 13. I think Julian might be retiring from the race if he sped into the pits. Does he? Maybe not. Maybe he's going fast lap after all. But much more ERS for the NLR drivers compared to Peace, and well, Shabby does actually have quite a lot of ERS himself, so good job from the Ferrari to hold on. They might well get that P3 on track, P2 then on penalties. Do you think maybe a target of Kart Race is to stay just about in DRS range so that the gap to Shabby is as big as possible? Could that be an option?
That could be an option, but I mean, even with that, Shabby is currently 2 seconds away from Gyrofu, they need 3. So, well, as long as Shabby and Peace are still in Kaiser's DRS range, or are still in his DRS train, there's no chance for Gyrofu to build a significant gap to Shabby.
I'm thinking the only possibility here is Kart Race slightly wide there, exiting the Vale chicane. Doesn't seem to have cost him all that much time, even if he did, can use some ERS.
Now that Peace actions a penalty, Kaiser might be able to, at least late on to race, do a bit of blocking without risking too much, because he can get passed by one car at least. Just can't let Shabby go. Kart Racer actually dropped off DRS range now.
I think he has, because, well, my DRS flap won't open, so you'll have to tell me about that. Does he have DRS?
No, he doesn't have DRS. He doesn't have DRS.
Okay.
At least for this race. He might be back in for the next one.
Is he? Is he maybe confident enough that even with DRS from the drivers behind, he knows that? Well, he does maybe know that Peace has not that much ERS, but if he did, would you think it's possible that maybe 3 laps is enough to hold on and hold these drivers up a little bit?
I don't think he's going to risk it, because the chance of building a 3-second gap from Gyrofu to Shabby is very, very low. I don't think it's worth risking that race win for NLR.
I love how much tactic can get involved with time penalties. It's actually much more than you would maybe expect, as 1 second is the gap again, but the DRS is crucially still there. However, yeah, gap's still open. 2 seconds.
Meanwhile, Mark, he's been staying in the Artemis DRS. He's not been going for moves. Knows, of course, the SPS driver has a penalty, so he's not just have to go for that move.
He's just looking to bring home that P5, isn't he? And he's only got Isa behind, who's also got a time penalty, so no real need for him to push. And currently 3 and 5, which would become 4 and 5 with Peace's penalty.
Yeah, we're now down to the last 2 laps of this race. So, yeah. If Shabby wants to somehow still win this race, he is running out of time. But I think, unless something is happening here, Kart Racer should have this race win in the bag.
Yeah, realistically speaking, there's not really much beating Kart Racer right now. We have an 8/10 gap from Kart Racer to Jirofu. We have a 6/10 gap to Peace. And right now it's, again, around 2 seconds. It hasn't really been fluctuating that much, but maybe the two might be pushing some more ERS out, because they can't gain that much time in just the final lap, I would say. Therefore, they'd have to start pushing a little bit earlier to maybe try and get out as big an advantage as absolutely possible for these two.
Interestingly, Julian boxed for softs 1 lap ago, so we might be seeing a new fastest lap in a bit.
Oh, has Kart Racer dropped out of DRS range here? Yes, he has.
1.1.
He is not in the DRS.
Peach, but Peace is very low in ERS.
Oh, that could be crucial here.
I think now they might be deploying the wall.
Yep, I think this is quite possible. However, look at Shabby. Is he pushing? Yes, he is. He's
pushing,
not close enough.
He's out of ERS already, 20%. He's almost out of ERS.
I think this could actually be
Gyrofu needs to gain 1 second on Shabby in 1 lap if he wants to keep that P2.
And this is going to be so close, isn't it? So tantalizingly close for this race win, or, well, whether it will be an NLR 1-2 or if Shabby manages to pick off that position. Now we start the final lap of this British Grand Prix. What a race, full of action between these 4 leading drivers. 2.3 seconds is currently the gap between Jirofu and Shabby, and I would say it is quite possible. It's going to be very close, but it will be definitely possible for the two to drive out a gap. So let's have a look quickly. Both I think are pushing now, of course. Yes, Jirofu doesn't have that much ERS anymore, so he will be pushing. Gap currently changing to the leader quickly. There we go. 2.4 seconds between P1 and P4, which is the gap of interest here. Kart Racer. Ooh, Kart Racer has a lot of ERS to burn, so he will be keeping ahead. 2.6 seconds. This is going to be so close, isn't it? Jirofu and Kart Racer. That will look Shabby now through Cop's corner. There's no penalties really for him.
Shabby's very low on ERS as well, but of course Shabby does have the ERS, which Jirofu doesn't have, so he will gain some time back on the straight, I think.
Oh, this is going to be so close.
Blocked by Peace in a way.
True,
and that could cost him.
Oh, is that a little mistake there from Shabby? 2.8 seconds.
2.8. Oh, this is going to be so close.
This is actually so close for the lead here. Jirofu's now also out of ERS, of course, because he has to deploy everything he possibly can. And he is 2 seconds ahead of his teammate, Kart Racer. 2.1, 2.2 seconds. 2.8 seconds is the gap now. Kart Racer's now doing his job to back these guys up. Jirofu wins the race on track. It looks like he's done it. Kart Racer into P2 has saved this 1-2 for NLR, it looks like. Yes, he has.
Yes, it worked.
Kart Racer wins. Oh my, what a brilliant race from the pair of them. Kart Racer wins the British Grand Prix with Jirofu in second. A 1-2 for NLR. What a brilliant performance from them two. I mean, it's hard to hide the bias at this rate, is it? What a race from these two.
In full swing. And, I mean, is it even? I mean, they were outstanding. It was a great strategy from those two. Working together. Securing the 1-2. And, I mean, what a performance. 2-3 in qualifying, and 1-2 in the race.
It's pretty much
very,
the most
close
points.
To maximum points.
Pretty much the most points NLR could have got from this race. What a fantastic ending to this British Grand Prix. And, wow. Just wow, that's my rating for that race. I'm not even going to put out any numbers, any ratings out of 10. I'm just going to say wow, because what a race we have been served up to. Fantastic action from the drivers, and a 1-2 finish for the Alfa Romeo Carlos here in Silverstone. Fantastic race.
And now Julian over the line. I don't think there's going to be a fast lap from him, but I guess we'll see in a moment. Not looking likely. No, indeed, doesn't manage to get the fast lap on the final lap.
That concludes the British Grand Prix. Wow. I mean, what a race. CPI Aza picks up driver of the day. I mean, that's down to the game. I suppose he would have gained a lot of positions over that, but here we see now the podium drivers. Kart Racer tops the British Grand Prix, stands on top of the podium with his teammate NLR Jirofu in P2. Crucial for Kart Racer that he got past Derek Smith there in the pit lane while the swap for hard tires was on. This was really what enabled this to happen. And I mean, Jirofu made it a bit harder than he maybe would have wanted with that time penalty, but in the end it worked out brilliantly in their favor, and they lift the trophies up for a 1-2 finish. Fantastic race from the pair of them.
I think they'll be very, very happy. I mean, I think I can already leak on our team chats. We are delighted with that result. And well, I haven't done the math, but surely this will put us close to relentless in the standings. I mean, they are P4 and 5, also a strong result from the championship leaders, but the gap is definitely closed down after today.
Yep, what I'm seeing here right now, Relentless Peace in 4th, qualified 5th, so that means 4 points for qualifying as well as 22 for the race. That's 26 in total. But obviously 43 points for the race from NLR, as well as, well, we've got 14 from qualifying, so 57 points for them. 4 race results: Kart Racer wins, Jirofu finishes 2nd, Shabby finishes 3rd for DTR, another podium. Relentless Peace, Relentless Mark in 4th and 5th. 6th place to SBS is Artem, very quiet race from him, up to P6, good job from him. Aza for CPI finishes 7th, VR last, P8 recovers from an early, well, difficult race. Derek Smith P9, what could have been really, as that is, well, that is time. Who was 10th? ERT Jinx, I believe.
Well, what a race. I'm very, very happy to have been had the honor of commentating on this race together with you.
Yeah,
I would say it's been one of the best races of the season so far, especially those early laps in the rain. That fight between Derek Smith and Kart Racer for the race lead.
I think that might, yeah. I'm almost lost for words here. That might be one of the best races I've ever commentated on. I'm going to be honest here. Absolutely brilliant action for the entire race. Can I just say also, not even a safety car either. We've just had, well, one retirement, two maybe? So really not much going on at all with the safety cars. And just 26 laps of racing action. And I mean, Silverstone always delivers in league racing, doesn't it? So what a job from all the drivers up and down the field today. And yeah, I am delighted to have shared the commentary box here today with you. And what a race, what a race. I don't have much more to say about that race.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. I think honestly, I'm running out of praise for the level of racing that we've seen today.
We're running out of
Unless you have anything to say,
aren't we?
I think it's best to just end because there's nothing to say.
Just end the stream on a
We
high.
keep repeating ourselves.
Yes, indeed. So, well, on that note, thank you everybody for tuning in to this absolutely thrilling British Grand Prix. We are delighted to have been part of this and to bring this to you. I'm also delighted to see that my stream held the entire way, so let's go. You love to see it. It's finally fixed.
W's all around for NLR this weekend.
Yep, it's my streaming career is actually saved. I'm so happy. So I think on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this fantastic British Grand Prix. Yeah, running out of superlatives, and I think it's just best to leave it all to you, analyze everything for yourselves, and then I'm going to say have a nice evening. Thank you all for watching, and I have been Alex the G, he has been NLR Felix 1, and now it was time to say goodbye, and until next time.